I loved that post about Secretariat. I don't know if it's even true now that I think about it. I just grabbed it since it's so, hi Charlotte. It really made me think about, how we start off with our puppies and, we see all this great potential. I think it's awesome if, we can really observe that puppy and be for that puppy what the puppy needs to be confident and to grow. And for some dogs, they love to add the speed early on. Others, they really don't. And they show their lack of confidence by being cautious. Dakota was that kind of puppy, and I didn't worry about it. I just felt like he was not sure. And over time, he did actually pretty quickly gain confidence. So I am not a big fan of starting all dogs off the same way, that thinking they all have to start off fast or they all have to start off slow, whatever it is. I'm more of the treat each puppy and dog as the individual they are. So anyway, let's see. I'm gonna wait just a few more minutes before talking in case people are coming on. And, I'm just going to start talking a little bit about Brenda Nault, who I know through NADAC. I mean, I've seen her at a couple of seminars and at Champs. So we know each other, but we're not in the same area. And I had been wondering what's been going on because I hadn't seen any posts by her, and she is skilled dog trainer and an experienced agility person, and she has this Sheltie that was having some arousal related problems, I think, or fear related problems. Oh, hi Laura. And so she was just writing her response to what's been going on, and me asking her to elaborate. She was saying, I'm just really struggling with my boy. He is a fast, zoomy boy that some days has his thinking cap on. He's still not committed to obstacles and goes around hoops and jumps wherever there are other dogs and noise and distractions. I train by myself, so music blaring is not enough, I guess. I don't have the opportunity to train with others much, so we'll keep training what I can. He can't handle anxiety, so he zooms. In our online class, we are still at box work. That's for running context, I think. And class is almost done, but I at least know what I have to do. He is just one of those dogs that takes a lot of time and work. Yeah, and I believe your prior dog was one of those really forgiving dogs that the great thing is that they're very forgiving. The downside is they can be letting us get away with things that maybe 80 or 90% of dogs would not be letting us get away with. So it is possible that your current dog is going to teach you to be a better observer and connector because he is not quite as tolerant of all the stuff that perhaps your other dog was tolerant of. So, and I'm basically, I want to do a coaching session with Brenda because her dog is typical of a lot of dogs, that they express anxiety by zooming, disconnecting, and then zooming. And a lot of us are stuck training alone, especially, during COVID, that, our social lives have changed. And, I'm actually going to shift gears. Oh, hi, Catherine. Because as I was leading up to this Q&A session, I was really thinking about the mindset of all of humanity. And, I know that when I took my 2-week road trip, I took it because I really needed it. And I had read or heard somewhere reputable, or else I wouldn't have taken it to heart, that a lot of people are hitting this, this fatigue wall about life with COVID. And I certainly was feeling it big time in September, and that's when it appears to have hit a whole bunch of people. So what it showed up for me was like this loss of energy, a loss of motivation, enthusiasm, more gripiness So things that annoy me a little bit in day-to-day life, you know, were really annoying me, like bad course design. I'd be watching myself, aware of like watching myself going, bitch, 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 about a course that I normally just go bitch, bitch about. So, and basically, you know, feeling kind of a generalized anxiety. And for those of us who live in the United States, on top of COVID, we have the unknown about what's going to be happening in our election and all the insanity surrounding it. So I've shared recently that studies show that dogs mirror our emotional states. So I think it's really important to take all of this into consideration in terms of what we're expecting from our dogs, hi Karen, and from ourselves right now. That I believe we need to give ourselves and our dogs, like cut ourselves and dogs a lot of slack. And I feel like emphasizing joy and enthusiasm, not only for our dogs, but for ourselves in our interactions, even if it's just like a 30-second session because you're too exhausted to actually do real training. But I feel like that is the best thing we can do for ourselves and for our dogs. So if you're feeling than you normally feel, like I've said is true for me, I think the timing of Ocean is perfect. That it's going to give, it gives the opportunity to work on things that you don't have an external goal about necessarily. Like you're never going to bring mark buckets into the trial ring, so you don't have to perfect the training, or you know, you don't have to perfect your balance between driving to, staying on, and you know, releasing from the mark. But these are all really simple actions that you can engage with your dog and focus on a couple of simple things like observing your dog's inner state, observing your own inner state, and seeing what it's going to take to shift yours to a slightly more joyful point of view. For me, when I feel really funky, I will go sit on my back porch and either play with my dogs or do some simple training that can be done with me sitting on the porch and my dog doing something that's known and fun. And it gives me just a little break. It doesn't solve my problems, but it gives me a little bit of a break and brings a tad bit of joy into my life. So I feel like I wanted to start off by saying really what I've been thinking big picture about our emotional and mental well-being during this COVID time, because I think we're going to be, you know, as we enter the longest dark nights of the year for most of us. Some of us are in the opposite hemisphere, lucky for you, going towards daylight, but I think it's going to be even more important for us to be aware if we are in a funk and acknowledge that it would be quite reasonable to be in a funk and to cut ourselves a lot of slack and to stay connected in any way we can. Like I work alone. I teach 1 day a week, and other than that, I'm pretty much alone. So, you know, this group feels like a way to connect, and, you know, I hope if, you know, you're super busy that you can find the time to just maybe scroll through posts and, you know, listen to the Q&As and, you know, connect with what other people are going through, which I think can help us get out of our own heads and, you know, have like this empathetic or compassionate perspective on somebody else's problems, which also can lift our spirits. So do check in now and then if you feel like, you know, you can't stand the news for another second and you want to listen to something else. I highly recommend going to Ocean because really the intention here is as much about bringing joy and enthusiasm to people as it is dogs. And I didn't realize that when I started because my motivation was improve the lives of dogs, but the longer I go, the more I realize this is perhaps even more about the people than it is the dogs. So cool about that.